There you go. All right. So, first question, what's your name? Where are you from? And where are you currently?
I'm Kat from Montreal, Canada, and I'm currently based in London for a year just to study. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And you speak a million languages. Just put that out there. We'll talk about it. Okay. Where did you start the Camino? And oh, you know what? I never asked you. Did you want to do it in Spanish?
Oh no, no puedo hablar en español.
Um, but okay. So where did you start the Camino and where did you finish?
I started in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in France, and I finished in Santiago de Compostela in Spain.
Did you go to Finisterre?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you want to?
I did. It just I definitely wanted to go to the end and see the sea and have that kind of cathartic experience that people have talked about. Also, I wasn't ready for it to end totally, but I just schedule wise it couldn't work out with my studies starting in September.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if we had talked about it. So in a lot of the interviews, I've actually mentioned you, because you and me, I met you on my first day. Because you started a day before me, right? And then you went
Yeah.
up until where did you go until?
It was called Borda, which is kind of like halfway, like I think it was 700 meters of elevation and around 9 kilometers out of the 25.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was,
from
yeah, and it,
Saint-Jean to Roncesvalles. Yeah.
so you had done that as your first day, as like your first
Yeah.
chunk, right? And then it
Yeah.
was like one place only, right? Where you were.
Yeah.
And were there like a lot of people there or not so many?
I think it was booked full. It's a very popular spot, and I couldn't have asked for a better like starting point,
Okay.
accommodation wise. And I think we were like about 20 or so. We had like a communal dinner, and it was like a good introduction as well in terms of to my body, to what I was about to experience over the next like 5 weeks. It was quite steep, but it wasn't like distance wise, it was like 8 kilometers, so it was very doable. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I met you coming out of your place.
Yeah,
So
in the
you are
morning,
the
I woke
girl
up
that
in
I
the
walked
morning.
with. Because I always mention, I'm like, oh, well, my first day actually walked with a girl. This is the girl. This is
I
said
am
girl.
the girl.
Yeah.
Hello.
And so I remember you were walking out of there. Our initial interaction was because of the cows. Because
Yes.
I was like, oh my gosh, these cows are, I'm like, aren't these cows like so cute? And then I wanted to like take pictures. And you're like, oh my God, they are. Or I don't know if you took pictures first or I took pictures first. Or we both collectively decided to take pictures of the cows. It was something along those lines.
We bonded over taking pictures of cows.
Exactly. Like right outside of wherever your hostel was. Because you
Yeah,
came out of the gate and I was like, good morning.
literally.
And I was like, good morning. And then I just was like looking at the
You
cow.
actually spoke Spanish to me, like right off the bat. You
Did
just
I?
and I remember, yeah, you were like, Buenos dias? Is that what you told me?
Oh, probably to like say,
Something like that.
yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that being from, I don't think I like full on spoke to you.
No, but then I commented on that afterwards. I remember saying, "Oh, I'm surprised that because me looking Asian as well, like well,
You're like
I
the
mean, me
Asian of it
being
all.
Asian,
Yeah, you, how could you?
sorry,
Mind
not just
you,
looking Asian. I am literally Asian.
yes, you are. You were
Yes.
Chinese, I remember.
I
But
am, yeah.
also, it doesn't work for me because I'm Peruvian. So in Peru, we have a lot of Asians looking, and but they're
Ah,
Peruvian. We've had a
and they
Japanese
speak
descendant.
Spanish.
Absolutely,
Okay,
they're
right, right.
Peruvian. We've had a
Yeah,
Peruvian. He's Japanese descendant, but he's
right.
Peruvian, and he's been our president. And he was like the president in like the 80s, 90s. So I'm
Oh
talking
wow,
about,
I
I'm not
had
talking
no
about like
idea.
recent. I'm talking about like this is
Yeah.
who we are as a people. And in Mexico, we actually have a very big community of Koreans, but like Korean
Oh,
descendant that now they've been here
right.
maybe three, four generations. So they're Mexican,
Mm-hmm.
but their descendant is Korean. So
Right.
you could have been. So I didn't want to look, racist. Maybe that's why I was like, let me just hit
Yeah.
you with Buenos Dias. Also, I don't know if I told you this when you mentioned to me, when I was in France, a girl
Hmm.
who looked Asian came up to me and spoke to me in English, but very bad English. And
Okay.
she was like, can you take a picture? And I was like, sí, por supuesto. And she was like, oh, hablas español? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, ¿dónde eres? De Peru? And she was like, yeah, how'd you know? And I was like, I didn't say anything, but I was like, girl, come on. Like, I know. I'm like, I'm Peruvian. That's what I told her. But like, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. So, and that was in France.
And I was in France. I was
That
in Paris,
interaction happened. Okay,
in Notre
interesting.
Dame.
Yeah.
So like a couple
Mhm.
days before I'd started the Camino. So, maybe who knows? But maybe it's just also classically I was gonna hit everybody with the Buenos Dias because I knew we were going
Yeah.
into Spain. So maybe that could.
Right.
So who knows, I don't see color, maybe. I just didn't see it all. Okay. But then you finished a day after me. So you started a day before me, and then when you finished, was it a day after? Yeah, it must have been because I only stayed 2 days.
Right.
And so you finished the day after me or two, something like that, but very, very
One
close.
or two. Yeah.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
close to when I finished. But
Hmm.
that first day we walked together, we got lost together. You got to be on
Yep.
Camino de Valeria, which is getting lost at least one time. Um, and that was, yeah. So I'll, I remember you for that. But we'll get more into that because I like to talk about, especially with people who, for example, we really know each other, which is like I would say you.
Hmm.
I like
Oh
to talk
yeah,
about how we
definitely.
met and like different moments there. But anyways,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. Similar to me, I had intended to go to Finisterre in Muxia. It was like, oh, the big plan for me. And then I went to Madrid. So I think, yeah. So I think like, we all make our changes based on the Camino. You let the Camino take you. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so was this your first Camino?
Yes, it was my very first time walking the Caminos.
Okay.
And I had just heard of it the same, like a few weeks prior to that.
Oh, okay. I think you
Yeah.
mentioned that to me. Maybe I just forgot. How did you hear about it?
I recently got into hiking a lot and the outdoors in general. And since I knew I was going to travel um, to London for a year and study there, I
Mhm.
was looking up some hikes to do while I was in Europe. And I came across the Camino in a blog post listing a bunch of different, famous hikes and walks across Europe.
Right.
And the Camino just stood out to me and it called to me.
That's what the Camino be doing. Um,
Yeah.
and was there something in particular that you liked about it? Was it maybe the length? Was it maybe where it started? What was it?
I'd say it's mostly the way people describe their experiences of the Camino, like the
Yeah.
testimonies of it, and also like I haven't heard a single bad review or um
Hmm.
yeah, I guess you could call it a review, but
Yeah.
and the fact that it talked about the fact that it wasn't just the physical aspect and the nature aspect of it all, but it also had a spiritual component, a cultural and a strong social component, especially the Frances, which is why, I spent a lot of time debating which one to do, and I
Mm.
finally ended up settling on the Frances because I heard about, that it was easier to, because of the infrastructure that was very mature, and well developed, and
Mhm.
how like it's more people walk that way as well.
Yeah,
So
it's well
yeah,
established. And like
yeah.
that the signs are very clear. There's many places
Hmm.
to stay. Food is not
Yeah,
hard to find.
yeah,
It goes through major cities. It's the one with the best infrastructure. The other ones is not that there isn't any. It's just less. Some of them you do have to reserve definitely beforehand, or you have to walk a certain amount of distance until you see certain things, which is
yeah,
not so common in the Camino Frances.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So, would you do the Camino Frances again?
Yes, I was actually talking to someone, well, hell no, earlier about how I felt ready to do the Camino again, actually, already,
Okay.
less than 3 months after it. Yeah.
But is it like bless you, don't know if you heard the dog. Um, but is it the Camino Frances or like the Camino in general?
Um, I do feel quite attached to the fences because, um, as much as I like exploring new options, I was looking at the Portuguese as well. I think the Francis, there's the length and the way the landscape, it just naturally separated into like three nice parts,
Right.
both like emotionally and the landscape. And so I don't know, there's something about that experience that just uh,
Just calling
I
you.
really enjoyed. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, I would definitely do the Camino Frances again if I have the time. But I would
Mhm.
like to do the Portuguese. I would like to do the coastal one. I heard it's
Right.
very, very beautiful. I heard the Portuguese the regular way, like not the coastal way is actually difficult. Like it's
Mm,
extremely difficult because up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Very similar
right.
to like the Norte. The Norte
Yeah.
is very difficult. It's not like
Right.
impossible, but it's not nothing to do with like the Camino Frances. It's
Yeah.
more like there's more of
Hilly. Yeah.
yeah.
Elevation gain and loss. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's constant versus like
Mm,
in the Camino Frances it happens like every now and then, but it's not like all
yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
So that was something I heard. But I would love to do, I mean, I would do it again. Certain people they have strong opinions. They're like, I did that one, I'm not doing it again. Like I did
Yeah.
it, I will do something different, or they don't want to, or they feel like, oh, I need to wait till it's time for me to do the Camino next. Um,
Mhm.
if I lived in Europe, I would do it in parts all the time, to be honest.
Mm,
I feel like I don't,
really?
yeah, like if I don't have time, if I don't have break of like 2, 3 months, because not all
Oh,
jobs kind
okay.
of allow for that, I would
Right,
just do
right.
it. Or like, let's say I have a long weekend and I have nothing to do, I would go and do a few
Mhm.
days. Go do Saint Jean to like Pamplona or like
Right.
the Ponferrada to like
Confident.
I think 3 days after it's like Villafranca, something like that. I'm really bad at
I
remembering,
do not remember. I'm
but it's
impressed that
like
you do.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's just like yeah, I don't. But I have it written down for something.
Mhm.
So I would do that. I think it's like I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I would do it if I could. I would do it again, like right now. Like I don't really have I don't feel that whole thing where people are, and it's not because I feel like I need to do it. I just liked
Mhm.
it and it feels like
Yeah.
doable. So I'm like, I would.
Right.
And like I wouldn't
Yeah.
expect it to be anything like this past one. Um,
Hmm.
I did. There are people who want to do the Portuguese. So I'm very much considering like forming a group, but then we kind of do what we do. So like if people end up ahead or end up behind, whatever, but like at
Yeah.
least we start together. So it'd be kind of nice.
Yeah.
And then we'll,
Yeah.
kind of like organically becomes what it needs to be, which is very much how the Camino works.
Hmm.
Um, so I liked it. I just live far right now, so that's my only thing.
Yeah.
That's why it's like, oh, I have to think about it. But if I lived
Yeah.
in Europe, it would be so I would not even think about it. I would just like go do
Hmm.
it on a weekend just to do that. And I
Right.
wouldn't even talk to anybody because I don't really, I mean, I don't mind the social aspects, but for me, it's just like I just enjoy the nothingness. I
Hmm.
enjoy the simplicity of your life while you're on the Camino and
Right.
the opportunity you get um to think, which are things that like I enjoy doing in my everyday life and I have like worked really hard to implement that I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, but this just makes it easy to do it instead of like, oh, make sure to shave off those 5 minutes and those 10 minutes to breathe, versus like doing it in a good chunk and then just being able to return because, life is just full of so much stimulus.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so I really liked it. I don't, but also like, I don't feel the need for the Camino either, which I think is an interesting conversation that I wanted to kind of have with you a little bit. So, you got the Camino blues, right?
I did. I definitely did. Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit like what the Camino blues are?
Well, for me personally, after I came back to London, or when I first arrived in London, I guess one of the thing that stood out to me a lot was the fact that I just instinctively wanted to say hi or like was looking into people's eyes or trying to make eye contact with everyone that I came across
Right,
because
right.
I was so used to doing that on the Camino. I would say, buen camino and say hi to everyone. Like every single person that I came across was an opportunity for me to maybe have a chat with them, or to open my mind in some ways and just and so after coming to London, I realized most people were like avoiding my eye contact actually, and then I realized, oh, right, regular people don't do this in the day to day.
Right.
Um, and especially in a city like London where it's so big, um, it can feel a little bit impersonal at times, and I think it's harder to connect. So I think a big part of it, what the Camino Blues for me was the the sudden lack of connection and openness that I experienced with people, and how much more difficult it was for me to, because on a day-to-day basis, even prior to the Camino, I'm someone who opens up relatively easily, and people tend to trust me as well, and I am able to connect with people on a deeper level, like relatively easily. But on the Camino, it was just it took it to,
Yeah.
a completely different level. Yeah, I'm sure you experienced that as well. And so after coming back, it was like, oh, back to this. And I also missed just the simplicity and the low stress of it all. Just the fact that I just had to wake up, eat, walk, socialize, go to sleep, wash my clothes, go to sleep, and rinse and repeat for days on end. Whereas, like, as soon as I got to London, even prior to getting to London, I was in the airport and I had to deal with my visa issues. And with my university telling me that, oh, we're not going to issue you a visa, we're stopping. And then me being like, I'm literally in the airport about to fly to London, and just, all these things, just, and having to buy stuff because I had just arrived and figure out how to live and all these things. I just really miss the simplicity of the Camino. Yeah.
I think it's, yeah. And so that happens to a lot of people. I don't think it's actually abnormal. I think it's normal because most people's lives are very go, go, go. And I think
Hmm.
that's why when they have it, especially people who do it, you're not young, but you are one of the younger people, I would say, that I met at least. I think depending the time of year you go, because there's other times of year that almost everyone's like your age. But
Oh, ever.
yeah, that's what they explained to me because I'm like, I didn't know young people did this because, and then, anyways, but that was another conversation. Um, one thing I remember that you told me, I don't know if this was you. Okay, so correct me if
Hmm.
I'm wrong. You told
Hmm.
me that a big thing too was like when you had to be in the classrooms, you started to feel like more trapped. Was that you who like mentioned about going back into like the classrooms and like the school and like you were in these because you had to go to like these meetings and all these things that you're like it was different than like the openness that was naturally always there in the Camino. Um,
Mm.
I don't know if that was
No, it wasn't me, but I can relate to that. Like,
okay.
or even just the staticness. Like I was so used to walking all the
Yeah,
time and moving, and
yeah,
yes, this openness, like you said, that it felt weird to just like
be
stay
there.
put. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I can't remember who told me that because I loved that. I thought it was one of the most. It helped me understand like maybe what people were going through, um,
Yeah.
because they were like, yeah, it's weird because now I'm inside and now
Yes.
everything feels closed. Like I feel like the room is closing in on me. I'm like, that's wild. And I'm like, and that's probably, and I get that because everything was so open. Like when you're in the Meseta,
Hmm.
it's just sky and it's
Yeah.
just like field,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, Galicia is more foresty and all this, but there are these open spaces. It's just so much
Hmm.
sky. Like and then when you're in a city, it's like less sky because of all the buildings. And
Hmm.
so I think for me, I cheated my way out of that a bit because I continued traveling and then I went to visit my parents. So then it
Right.
was like I was assimilating back little by little anyway. But by the time I got to my normal life, I was
Hmm.
just like, yeah, I'm just, it was like I had taken a trip to visit my parents, which I do quite often, where it's like where I go and
Yeah.
I come back. I do a lot of that, where like I go and I experience this thing and then I come back. So I think that it's not something unnatural for me or unknown for my mind and my body and my spirit. Because like I
Hmm.
also went to Peru this year for 2 months, and it's like Peru. I went to
Right.
Machu Picchu. I do all
Oh,
these
two
things, and it's
months.
like whoa,
Hmm.
whoa, 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 and then I just come back and I
Yeah.
and like it doesn't
Yeah.
mean I don't appreciate it or anything like that. I think it's just I've also like told my psyche like, hey, like we do this, okay?
Mm.
So like we go and we have these big things.
Yeah.
they start and then they finish, and then we get to sit in them later. And little by little, more things will come out, which is something that
Mm.
I've noticed about the Camino more than anything. It has like unlocked so many things that I did not realize it was pulling out of me because it was
Mm.
doing it subconsciously, and I haven't realized it until now. And I think there will be things that as the month go on, I will realize then because it's just a process of like it's so much unconscious work. I think it's
Mhm.
less conscious than people think, or maybe I don't know. For me at least, it has been so
Mhm.
much unconscious work that now I'm like, oh, this is why I'm upset because this and that. And oh, this is from this, and the Camino brought this up and has showed me this
Mm.
wound and is making me clean out this wound and put the cream and the cleaning, and it's painful and like a little bit of blood is going to come out, but we have to clean it now. We have to wash it, and then we have to put some ointment, and like all of that's a process that you can't actually do all in the Camino. But
Mm.
at the same time, I always want to like kind of warn people to be mindful because yes, the Camino is very beautiful, and yes, you get all these great things, but it's not like the Camino. I mean, yes, it is, but it isn't. Because if these are things that you need to be feeling or you're searching for, and then you're like, oh, I can't go on the Camino, I can't be out of work for a month, I can't do this for a month, like I'm never gonna get these kind of this opportunity to like face myself. The reality is you can do that in your everyday life. It
Mhm.
takes a lot more effort and a lot more intention, but it
Yeah.
proves the same because I going to the Camino was not the first time I had self-worked on myself. I've been working on myself for
Mhm.
3 years, and the Camino, well, I mean my whole life, but very intensely the past 3 years, that the
Mhm.
Camino was like putting me, and I did this consciously, to the test for many things of
Right.
my patience, of slowing down, of breathing, of listening to people, and being respectful in many ways, and like allowing myself to be loved, allowing myself to be cared. All these things were not like, oh, I got on the Camino and they came to me. No, this was things that I had been setting up for years. And this was the test. And I didn't do so well on all of them. I did well on some of them, and I can still improve and there's still room to grow. And like little by little, I'm seeing more of that as time goes on. Um, but that's just something I'm kind of sharing on my part. Okay. So maybe we'll do the Camino again in the future. Who knows? um, all right. And then, so why did you choose the Camino? I feel like you kind of explained that already, but I don't know if there's anything else you want to add. It's just I asked that question
Mhm.
in everyone because it's like the question we all
Yeah.
get asked.
Yep.
So I got to include it because if not, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I already kind of touched upon
Hmm.
the majority of it. Just and I'm someone who's like quite uh actually I didn't mention this, but I don't enjoy traveling alone. And the Camino was a way for me. Sorry, I just gotta take off this filter. That's just, my screen's really yellow. Okay, now it's good. Um, yeah, it was a way for me to challenge myself and to go do a solo trip, but knowing that I would most likely meet people and um, form like, bonds with people and that I wouldn't feel lonely, probably.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it definitely did accomplish that. I'm so glad I did it alone as well. I feel like um, actually the group at the end that we formed, every single person had come in alone, and I felt like I wouldn't have had this openness maybe had I been with my own group of people,
Right.
like from my life. Yeah.
I think that's very true. Same for me. Everyone has started alone. I came alone. And my group at the end, only we had the couple, Johan and
Mhm.
Yolande. Obviously, they came together, but
Yeah.
I was alone, and I like to travel alone though. So for me, it was very funny. I was like, when I got to the Camino, I'm like, why are there so many people here?
Yeah.
It was like the very opposite. I was like, what?
Mhm.
But that was a test for me that I feel like God was like, yep, yep, here you go. We're testing you once again on community because you're always fighting it, little girl. And
Mhm.
so it was good for me. And I would like to talk about that with you. So I feel like you found a group. You were someone
Mhm.
who was very into the group dynamic, which many people do. And I think it's much easier. It's the much more common. But also, I feel like before we get into that, I think another reason why you did the Camino is because you are someone who's looking to better yourself and grow and push yourself. And so I think that's what attracted to you. I think, yes, there weren't the good reviews, but you understand that, yes, physically I want to push myself, but also mentally I do and spiritually I do. And I'm wishing to push the bounds on that. So I think there's something in your heart or in your soul, however you want to see it, your spirit, that is calling for those types of things, right?
Yeah,
And um,
definitely.
and it afforded you that opportunity within the realm of things that you like, which is, being
Hmm.
active in nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what was the group thing for you? Like, because I remember, I'll just say a little bit. So we walked the first day,
Hmm.
and I feel I've always told you that I felt like it was very important for you and me both to walk together that first day because I think it prepared both of our hearts for what it was going to be. Because I think I listened, which I know I talk a lot. Anyone who has seen these, they know I talk a lot. I am someone who I'd love to talk. It is not something I'm like, if someone's like Valerie's talking, I'm like, yeah, like it's not something uncommon to be associated with me for my whole life, right? And so I've always been like, I need to learn how to listen because I can listen pretty well. My job like requires me to listen and pay attention. So I know I can.
Hmm.
And so with you, it was like a lot of that with me listening to your story. And like you're right, you're very vulnerable. We talked about so many things. I mean, we were together for like 6 hours, I think.
We were more
Yeah.
than like 7 or 8, I think,
Yeah.
that day. It was a long
It
day.
was a
It took us a
long
while.
day because we
Yeah,
got
yeah,
lost, right? So it should have been
yeah,
like maybe 4 hours from where we were, but then I think we added about an hour and a half because we did walk a while because we had started coming down that mountain. So that's
yeah.
why my
And
mind, I'm
then we
like,
had to go all the way back up.
so I think we added about an hour and a half to 2 hours there, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think so.
something like that.
It's okay. We enjoyed it, I think. And so I remember like you talking to me about things and I listened to you and then you were saying all this. And I think it was like preparing both of our hearts for what it was. I think there were certain things that you maybe needed to like let out. And so you did and you felt comfortable with me. And I always feel like that's it's like a privilege to have someone feel comfortable around you. And so, you talked about certain things with your family. I told you things about my family. And like we were able to not necessarily relate on a lot of things, but just understand each other for the person that we were, which is why I
Hmm.
liked our relationship with one another because
Hmm.
we're similar-ish, but very different from if we were to go at the origins, right? Just from
Hmm.
certain things, like, oh, just very different things, right? In the dynamics of our families and stuff like that. So but then there's similar wants and desires in each of us that we can mirror. It's just like we're
Yeah.
getting there in a very different way, right?
Hmm.
So I feel like that conversation really allowed for a preparation. Cause then you were kind of like, okay, that's out of the way. Like now I'm just Kat. And like maybe I'll talk about my parents stuff or whatever to people. I don't know how much you did that with everybody, but you're like, now there's other stuff to do. There's other stuff to look, there's other stuff to explore. It was like I need to empty out this cup and like now I'm gonna fill it. And I was like, I'll take it. And I'm like, and here's some of my cup. And like, so I really felt like it prepared us. And then I remember you met your first group that day. And so we were talking about like, when are we leaving or anything like that. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to leave early because I always left early because I'm
Yeah.
run away from people. So then and like, that's really what it is like, I needed my alone time. So I left early. And I remember you're like, oh, I don't really know. You're like, I would like to walk with you. And then you're like, but they're inviting me to walk with them. And I was like, Kat, I think you should walk with them. I think that's what you should do. And you're like, okay. And I'm like, and don't worry, I'm not gonna take like it doesn't make me feel some type of way. I enjoyed my time with you. If I see you, I see you, and I'm sure we probably will. And
Hmm.
then because I remember that you're like, oh, but like I do want to go with you. And I'm like, look, Kat, I'm gonna leave really fucking early. So like if you want to leave early like that, you can, but I do think it'd just be better if you went with because I would leave at crazy times. That first week I was leaving at like
Yeah.
4 in the morning. Okay. It's not
Right.
that's why I'm like, let it be known. It's not that she like wakes up late or something. It's that I was leaving at crazy fucking times that nobody was
I
leaving.
was also like always like one of the last to leave, I have to say.
Okay, yeah, you said it. I didn't say it. But, we found that out later. But I was leaving at like the crack of dawn. Why?
Yeah, you were.
I don't know. I was just freaking running away from everybody, only for everybody to pass me on the way. And so, and then I thought that was good because then you formed your first family, I would say. And like, how was that for you? Like, I just would like for you to talk about that process because I didn't have that. Because I actually mostly
Right,
walked alone,
right.
like the whole time. Even the person that I ended with, that I met him in Saint Jean, we walked together, I think in the whole 33 days, like that we walked together, like
Hmm.
intentionally,
Hmm.
maybe 5 days. And like
Oh wow.
and we liked being around each other. But I was always very adamant of like, okay, but I need to leave before you. Like
Mm-hmm.
only 5 times to be like, okay, we're gonna leave together and stay together. Other than that, I was like, I need my time alone, or like, please go ahead of me, or please go behind me. Like
Mm-hmm.
at the end, I met someone who for two from Leon, no, from Obrigo to Santiago. We walked almost every day together.
Right.
But he was I mean, at that point, my heart was very open to that.
Yeah.
And it took all that like time for me to
Right.
think about that. But really, I was, because even when I would go with you guys, I would kind of leave and then kind of go and then like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I liked being on my own. It's something of my nature. So I just kind of want to know how it was for you because your nature is very different.
Yeah. So I'm someone who tends to, I enjoy being with other people because it allows me to paradoxically kind of be present, whereas whenever I'm alone, I tend to, yeah, just have too many anxious thoughts or have a hard time deciding on things. But so actually, my experience, I wasn't with one group the entire way.
Mhm.
It was very much also, especially in the beginning, I was walking alone many days because they would start off before me, and I would end up walking alone and then somehow like bumping into people. And so like the third day I walked with Victor, yeah, with someone all day. Uh, and
No names, please, Kat, just to remind you.
sorry, yeah. I just remembered. Yeah. Do you think you can edit that part out?
No, I won't. It's fine.
I'm
His
sorry.
interview's coming later anyway, so it's not like anything. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. So the first day I walked with you, and then second day I think it was with the people that you told me to like go with, who I've met the previous night, and I think just by like we all stayed at Barda, the first accommodation, and I think just by chance we somehow all ended up in Roncesvalles in the same like bunk
Literas?
beds.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the yeah, literas. And and we just had such a good conversation and bonding moment. We laughed a lot, and then I felt this like group energy, and especially with this one person with whom I felt like he was kind of a paternal figure to me. Um, and so yeah, I just went on with them for the following days,
And then you
until
also, because even though you did walk with our friend
uh-huh,
that third day, you did actually spend most of your time with that group. That's what I mean. Also, I've made it very clear that like when I'm talking about in a group, you obviously don't walk with the people all the time.
right,
Because it is exhausting to a degree.
right,
You need to have that time alone. It's very essential. But like that is the people you would have dinner with. Because anytime I saw that group, you were there with them, like eating or going and doing something, or it was that people that I kind of saw you more consistently with. Um, so like until later when they kind of got slower and then you got faster or something, or I don't know, or then maybe when you came with me. But that's why, because you ate with the same people and then you would walk with them if you could find them, and then if not, there were people kind of along that you got to know as well.
right. I would say for the first week or 10 days maybe or so, it was definitely the case. But even before Burgos, I would say it started not falling apart, but like kind of. We would walk at different speeds, and um, some people wanted to go ahead, and I met other people as well. And then eventually, towards the later half, the second half of my Camino, I formed more of a second group. And we hadn't seen each other the entire time. Like, we saw each other more in the beginning, and so you didn't really see me with the other people that much afterwards until we kind of reunited at some point
I
for
saw
1 or 2 days.
the last time I saw you was I think before Pamplona. I remember seeing you in Subiri. I don't remember seeing
Mm.
you in Pamplona. I don't think you had dinner with us or went to church with us. I don't remember seeing you in Pamplona. Um, and then after that, I think I saw you maybe in Puente de la Reina, but and then I didn't see
And
you
we
in
took the
Burgos.
bus together from
Burgos.
yeah,
But
exactly,
this is all in the
to
beginning. So I'm talking about the first 5 days. So Pamplona
right,
is the third day. And that was the
right,
last time I see you. And then I did not see you until Burgos, which is about the second week. So
right.
then what had happened? Why were you behind? Because I had gotten there a day before you.
To Burgos.
Yeah. Did you guys stay in Logroño or something?
No, we didn't actually. I don't remember what happened.
Because you were behind me because not like we got there the same day. You had gone there a day after me.
Yeah, I remember that. Did you move forward one?
No.
Oh, I think maybe I was walking with Jean-Pierre. Oh, sorry. I was walking with two people of my group. I'm so
Now we
bad at
have to convince
this.
him. Now we have to try to convince him to do this. You're gonna have to send him a message.
I, I was walking with two other people, the people that I was in a group with, who were on the slower side of the group, and I decided to take it slower as well and to be with them because I was dealing with some injuries. Um, and so I think we just took one more day, one extra day to get to. Whereas you
Burgos.
guys chose to push and to do
Nope,
I
we
think
never did.
30,
No, no, we never did. That's the other people in
not
your
like a
group.
40 kilometer, but
No,
like
no,
you guys did a
no. Because that's the other people in your group. So that's the other people that had started to get ahead. Because
because
me went off.
your friend
Me
no
went.
because
I'll tell you because I know what you're thinking, but it doesn't. The day stayed the same because we went to Santovinia, which is off the Camino, which is a little bit longer. It's 30, but it doesn't add a day because then we have to come back to the Camino in order to get to Burgos. So it's 30 kilometers, but it doesn't actually take us further. It just takes us off. So like if this is where you're supposed to go, you're supposed to go to here to here. We went from here to here and then went from here back. So we're staying on the consistent days. So that's why I'm like, I know you ended up being a date because I wasn't like in the group chat. I wasn't really a part of that. I know you guys added me,
yeah.
but I ended up.
Well, I didn't have a phone,
Oh yeah,
so
you didn't have a phone. That's crazy.
no,
You
so that
mentioned
was
that.
also really challenging actually for the first yeah, up all the way up until Burgos I didn't have a phone. No, yeah, Burgos. I
Burgos,
got my
yeah.
phone back. Yeah.
And that was about like 10 days. I think it's about a little
Yeah.
over 10 days. You're reaching about the 2 week mark once you get to
Yeah.
Virgos. Um, and so that's why I remember something happened where you guys like, I don't know, maybe with a Gragnon or something that you guys there, you went halfway and then went another one. Because we were consistent. The reason why we did that 28:30 was not because we advanced, was because we went to
Okay.
Slovenia, which was
I
off.
see. I see.
It was off. So we
Right.
went out of the Camino and then we came back to the Camino because
Okay.
my Camino dad was going there too. And then
Right.
he had already booked it. So I was like, yeah, I'll go with you guys. Because like that
Oh,
was
okay, I see.
my consistent people were the people I ate dinner with.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I walked with them, it's because they found me. And then my Camino
Right.
dad, we walked in the morning. Once he would find me and then
Yeah.
he would leave me after walking with me for like an hour.
Because he's a speedy
He's Speedy Gonzalez for sure.
yeah, Speedy Gonzalez.
He's fast. You know, he got to Santiago.
No, I saw him like sped past us, like or speed past us, on the Camino at some
Yeah.
point. He was like we were walking together, like we as in my group, and then he kept the same pace as us for a little bit, and then he thought we were too slow and just like went ahead.
Yeah. That's how I know he loved me because he would stay with me and he would offer to stay longer with me, but then I'm like, I can't because I want to go slower now. And he's like, all right, fine. And he's like, but I'll see
Right.
you. Or he would wait for me and like try to find me in like the middle of the cities. And that's why, like, as much as he was also kind of a grump, um, I knew he loved me because like I know I was slow. And he would not
Hmm.
walk with slow people. He did not. He wasn't really fond of it because I would see him with other people and then he would just kind of go. But he would always stay with me. And we'd walk
Yeah,
every morning.
you
Like,
guys had a special relationship for
yes, I
sure.
love him. He won't do it. I keep trying to convince him. I'm gonna try to call him again and try to convince him to do it. But he's like, I don't know. He's a bit of a grump, but he is my Camino dad, which makes sense. I'm kind of a grump, but just like a different version. But I love him. Um, yeah. So that's why I remember because I hadn't seen you because I remember you guys. I think it was you guys took.
Yeah, that's why we didn't see each other. But I forgot that Grañón was actually before Burgos, because if that's the case, yeah, then definitely. I think after Grañón, we kind of that's when our group dismantled. That was the last time I
Yeah.
saw some of them. They went ahead, a couple of them went ahead and
Yes. It's definitely
all the way to
before.
Finisterre and came back, and then we only saw each other in Santiago.
Yes.
Um,
So Doreen was also a part of that group who I've already done an
yes,
interview with. And so she
yes,
explained that to me that in Granion, because at that point there were people of just very different speeds. So you guys had stayed
yeah,
very much as a collective together. But
hmm
then once Granion, it was like, okay, we all have to go with who we should go with. So the people that wanted to push and be faster, they kind of formed their group. The people that were much
yeah,
slower and kind of the people that were in the middle. And those were
hmm
the groups that kind of formed. Um,
yeah, exactly.
and then those became consistent. And then you came with me, and then from there we split up again after Leon because you guys stayed in Leon, and then I left. Um,
All right.
so
Yeah,
after
yeah, yeah. I remember now. Okay.
yeah, so then
Yeah.
we saw each other, and then we stayed together from like Mancia de las Mulas or something like that until Leon. And then from
Hmm.
Leon, it was like another break. And then I saw you. I was there. To receive you when you arrived to Santiago.
Yes, and
So
it
yeah,
was very nice, and I was super happy to see everyone.
yeah, it was fun. I felt like because I was getting the text. I can't remember from who. It was like one of you two, of the girls that I know that were in there. And then like they were telling me like, oh, we're here, we're not. So that was cool. And then yeah, because I had done the because of who I ended up staying with, I did the normal things. That's why I know I did the normal one because we never because everything was already planned for
Right,
so it
right.
was like
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
yeah, so I'm like, that's the only reason. If not, my Camino would have been way different. I always tell him, I tell him that. Like, I'm like,
I thought he did change up his itinerary, like to add one more day in the end, or did he not?
no, he didn't.
No?
He had an extra day in Santiago.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Oh
we
no,
were
it was someone else. I remember I'm confusing him with someone else who
yeah,
also pre-booked every single accommodation
yeah.
and
Which you
was
can
supposed
if
to
you
end
want.
on the same day, but yes, you totally can do that. But
I wouldn't recommend it.
yeah.
And then it like
And
sucked.
that
Yeah.
person ended up having to cancel everything and moving it because yeah, she wanted to stick with us.
Mhm. And then if you get like an injury, so there's that. But
Yeah, also that.
which is my story of why, thank God, I didn't pre-book everything because I had to stay in Burgos until it was time for me to go back.
All
And then
right.
I wasn't going to do that, but because he asked me to come to stay with him, that's why I decided to go because I was like, yeah, we've been consistent. Like we started together, we met each other in our first hostel. It wouldn't be the worst thing, especially because I'm kind of someone who's more like I force everything to need to be an independent thing that I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably good if I just concede a little bit here. Um, so yeah. So I think for you it did switch, but you were always in a group. Um, and then you were in from Leon to Santiago,
Even
it
a bit
switched.
before Leon, I would say. Oh, or yeah, around Leon, that's when I wasn't really in a group anymore. It was just me and a friend.
You were with
And
me too, kind of. I mean, if you don't count that as a group, I just never walked with you before Leon.
oh, before no, but I meant after
Oh
Leon.
yeah, after
That's
Leon it
when,
changed. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. After Leon, I was just, it was just like me in the front, and it wasn't really a group anymore. It was just us. And but prior to the first two-thirds of the Camino of my Camino, I would say I was like mostly in a group. Um,
But you arrived with
yeah,
a lot of people. So how did you guys all meet?
where
To Santiago?
um we met up like 2 or 3 days before. We met up in Panf
Puerto Marín.
yeah, I think it was Puerto Marin, or somewhere around there. That's when we met up, and that's why I arrived with a bunch of other people. Yeah,
Yeah, because I was like, whoa, I was like, you guys are all together because like
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like waiting for you guys, and then I saw like everybody. I was like, wow, this is crazy. And it was like
yeah.
kind of funny because it was the group that you had started with also.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the thing. So we said that so they decided to wait for us, and so that we could all finish together. They were thinking
oh,
that it'd be nice to, yeah,
that's
to
cute.
arrive in Santiago together.
That's very sweet. And then the people who were also in your group that had like accelerated were there with
Mhm.
you, which was something I found funny because I was there like trying to wait for you guys, and then I saw them, and I was like, "Wait, are you
Mhm.
guys here waiting for like Kat?" And then they were like, "Yeah," and then well, like Kat and the rest of them, right? And then they were like, "Yeah." I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, "LOL." I was like, "Well, then I guess I'll stand here with you guys."
Oh,
And then
I
we
thought
were
you
all like,
knew. Okay.
"No, I mean, I'm not good at like knowing everything. And like I didn't
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
I was a part of that group. I was
Right.
happy to be added because then I knew where things were going on. But because I
Hmm.
had people I ate with, I was like, okay, like if I can't find them, it's okay. So I wasn't really checking that regularly. So then
Hmm.
I knew you guys were coming because one of you, it may have been Helena, was texting me.
It's probably her because I wasn't much on my WhatsApp.
Yeah, she was texting me like, "Oh, Valerie, like we're," because she texted me like, "Have you gone to Santiago?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm here. I'm going to be here for
Yeah.
4 days." She says, "I'm getting here this day. Like, if you want to know, blah blah blah." And I said, "Okay, text me when you're close, so I can go towards the cathedral, and I'll wait for you there." And then I saw them, and it was funny because I hadn't seen them in such a long time. So like before you guys came, we had our own reunion of like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so crazy to see them." We're like hugging each other, and I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
And then, I was telling them about like because I got my nails done, so it was like a whole joke. They're like, "Oh, why do your nails look so nice?" And I was like, "Well, I have to." And then um we were like, "Okay," like it was such a nice thing. So it was like kind of interesting because unintentionally you guys had me re-meet so many people in that time.
Right.
And then all of you guys came and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "I thought
Yeah,
it was just
everyone
them."
was there. No, it was crazy.
I was like,
Yeah.
this is insane. So it was kind of nice. I thought it was such a beautiful thing because you guys
Yeah.
had really created this family and this community.
Hmm.
And like, I think all of you guys desired that. All of you guys had that within you guys to have that community aspect and that joint kind of thing going on that I just thought it was so nice. Like to see you guys all see each other and like I just kind of got to be there and then like after that was funny because then I hung out with another girl and so that was fun but yeah so I always remember that about you because for me you like your Camino in my perspective was a lot about community and like socializing and like having it and maintaining it and like it just I saw it that way because and I don't think it's bad. I think a lot of people are like that. I think I'm just different in that way. And so I like talking about it because I think there are people like you who don't want to travel alone, who feel maybe uncomfortable with that idea, but then you can still go do the Camino because the Camino affords you this opportunity. So if you are not someone who you like to be alone in your times, but you do feel the need for other people, the Camino gives you that. If you're open to it, it's very easy. And that's what I felt like your story rang true because a lot of people found partners. Like they found a person that they ended up like really relating to, like becoming like a brother or a sister or something like that. I saw that a lot, especially with the people I talked to. But you was truly a community. I felt like you guys
Yeah.
had like a whole system. Like it was something so interesting for me to observe. It was something so beautiful. So I always like mentioning that. Okay, we're almost done, I promise. Because I know it's been a while. So what I did want to ask you is there a significant moment for you in the Camino? Now, I have
Wow.
one of you. Um,
Okay. What
if
is
you'd like,
that?
I'll share. It's the one about the sock.
Oh, okay, that way. Yes, yes, please do.
Okay, so I'll share that and then you can think about it as you
Hmm.
think. And like, by the way, significant moment, it can be maybe a funny moment that you had.
Right.
It doesn't have to be with me. It could be maybe something that just maybe you were by yourself or you with one of your
Hmm.
friends or something like that. It could be something super simple. It could be a food that you really enjoyed. It could
Yeah.
be, okay. So
Hmm.
this moment was, I think this was maybe our second day walking together after we had met up with the person that we both knew. And so we were walking and we ended up, I cannot remember the name of that little place, but we entered in and there was like this beautiful cathedral
Yep.
and
With
that
the Santa Maria de Blanco or the Virgin White
the
something.
yeah, it was like the
The
white
white,
virgin.
yeah.
And so it's a very beautiful church. It's kind of weird because the town, there's not like a lot to it, but then like there's all these stairs, not all these stairs, but there's like a good stairs, and then you see the big cathedral. And like we had decided to go, I think, were you guys gonna eat?
Yeah, we had eaten actually. So we sat down to eat,
Yeah.
and I had my because I had like socks to change into in case to prevent blisters. Just so that I change out of my wet socks and then put on a fresh pair. So I put them in my pockets in the morning when I started walking. And then by the time I arrived at the dinner spot where we stopped to rest, I was going to change them. And then I realized that I was missing one of them. And I had just bought those socks like a couple days prior to that. And they were like, those merino wool double layered socks. And so I was really upset about that. And I was because also I only had one left and I couldn't do anything with that one sock. So it was frustrating to have one and like do I throw it or
And I can't remember correctly if you had noticed that before, because I swore you asked me while we were walking, like, have you seen my sock? And I was like, oh my God, no, I haven't seen the sock. And then you guys were gonna eat. So you guys sat down and I was like, I need to go see inside the church. I just want to go see. And then you guys were like, well, we're gonna go after you. I'm like, yeah, but I want to go right now. And then and then I was like, well, I'm gonna go. Okay, I'll come back. I'm not even gonna eat anyways. So then I went up, and in the time that I went up is when this lady comes, right?
no, it was a bit later. So we
Okay,
all
okay.
went in actually like you finished or yeah, we all went
Oh,
in, we
okay.
did the tour. We actually took a lot of
Okay.
time in there and
Yeah.
we got like blessed as well. And then we came out and you needed to use the restroom.
Yes,
So
that's
we,
what it is.
me and the friend, our mutual,
Yeah.
we were sitting on the stairs of the cathedral,
Yeah.
just chatting and waiting for you to come back from the bathroom. And that's when, like, out of nowhere, this lady, like, had it just like came up the stairs and was asking people, like, asked us, like, hey, is this your sock? Or, and then there it was, my sock in her hand.
And so
It's
because
just a
I do
crazy
remember that
moment. Yeah.
when I came down, that's when you asked me about my sock, and I was like, I don't think so. I don't think I've seen it. I would have picked it up if I saw it. And then I always need to pee. So then I went pee. And I have a picture of you guys actually up there. So that's very funny. So that picture of you guys sitting there always reminds me of that. I call it a miracle. Because I think it's a miracle that like some lady decided to pick up the sock and then walk it to. And then by the way, this town was not the town we were staying in. And this isn't a
No.
town that necessarily everybody goes to visit. I think when we got
Yeah.
there were maybe six people. And I'll
Yeah.
let you know, Camino numbers, not a lot of people. Six people, not a
Yeah.
lot. And so in total, maybe 10 people had passed through, but that this lady had made the decision. And did she look like a pilgrim?
Yeah. I think she looked like a pilgrim.
That she like
I'm
debatable, I guess, maybe.
yeah, I'm not sure actually if she was, but
Because you said you'd never seen her before.
no, I had definitely never seen her before,
And
but
then he said that he had never seen her before. And at that point, like
yeah,
we kind of already knew the people that were there.
most people.
Whether
Yeah.
we spoke to them or not, it's like we knew their faces, right? So
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
I always think like that's such a miracle that like this lady came, made all these decisions, and then went to you to give you
The
your
timing, yeah, literally came to me and was like, "Hey, is this your sock?" Or just like, I don't know. We just like kind of looked up and there was like someone holding my sock up. And had you not gone to the bathroom, you would have left.
Hmm.
and this wouldn't have happened. So it was just,
Shout
yeah,
out to
it
my
was just
bladder.
kind of a crazy timing, and yeah.
And I had so much fun that day because I remember then we went to like the kids' playground and we were like playing around in the playground. And
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
that day is also when I took the picture that I have with my bear, Pancho, where I'm like kissing him in the road and you just see it like the sky.
Mm,
That day I really liked that day. And then I remember that's the day where a picture where he took a picture of you and then like all the birds are in the
the
sky.
crows.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, I fucking love it. So that was all that day. So that's why
Right.
I can kind of remember that day for that reason. I cannot really remember the beginning of the day. I think we went to a little church. I don't know if it was that
We
day.
did because I had to like unwrap my whole foot because I think I had blisters or some situation going on. So yeah,
So that was a
yeah, I
day
do
that like
remember
we
that day
all
pretty
walked
well.
together.
Yeah,
And so I remember that. And then I remember you like, I need some time alone. And
yeah.
then
Oh yeah.
after
And
that,
we started with breakfast actually in the morning. You didn't want breakfast, but then me and the other friend, we wanted breakfast, and I think we all sat down, and you ended
classic.
up getting a gigantic croissant or something, chocolate croissant,
I did.
and
Because
you
we
couldn't
left so late
finish
that
it because
day.
it was too much. Yeah, it was later, and you didn't like it, but you
I did
wanted to
not.
walk with us that time
I didn't really
because,
want to, but then I felt like
yeah,
I had already waited for you guys, so I didn't have a choice.
mm,
Which is
yeah,
why, because then I was like, because then I felt like if I just left, I would look so mean because I
right,
had already waited. Also, for me, I had already waited so long
yeah.
because I was like ready and then I waited and then I was like, okay, we can finally go. And you guys were like, let's have breakfast. I was like, oh,
Let's
I was like, you're
let's
joking. I'm like, I just waited. I was sitting waiting for an hour awake. Like, and that was it's fine. I'm just like that too. That's my problem is you guys are more lax than I am. And
yeah,
I'm more like which is also understand this is why I like to walk alone because I like to be at my time. I like to be at my
right,
pace. I like to
right,
leave early because I like the
right,
coldness of the morning. I like the experience of there being nobody and then the beginning of hearing all these people there. It is something for
right.
me that's very, it's like a romantic thing because it feels like there's nothing and then there's many and then it's a very beautiful thing. I enjoy that experience. Like I don't mind that
Hmm.
I'm more exhausted because I woke up early. So when you guys
Hmm.
were like, okay, just wait. And then like, and that's the thing is, I don't know if it was you or him or both of you guys were like, well, just wait. Come on, just wait for us. Like we're almost ready. And I'm like, are you almost ready? I've been sitting here an hour. And then it was like, we're almost ready. And then I'm like, y'all, they're still putting on your boots. Ready? And then like, then you guys were like, okay, let's have breakfast. I was like, I'm gonna kill both of you.
Yeah, I have videos of that.
And I was like, I'm stressed. Oh, sorry. Do you need to?
No, it's just, oh,
You're still here. Don't worry.
oh, sorry, because I'm getting a phone call from an unknown number as
You
well.
want me to
And
pause it?
to, can you pause it for one
I'll pause
second?
it. Okay, so if you want, why don't do you want to share a significant moment that you remember?
Yeah, I will. Actually, I think one of my favorite memories, I have two top ones, but I'm gonna choose one of them, because others might have mentioned this one
Oh,
already.
really quick. Sorry to interrupt you. And you can always
Mhm.
repeat the same story. I actually quite find it interesting when people repeat the story because I think it's kind of beautiful because they don't know.
Oh, okay.
But
Right.
if you'd like, we can finish after this, and then we can always pick up for the last chunk and do it another day. Okay?
Okay. Wait, sorry, I'm getting a phone call.
Go for it.
It's all
Okay. So we talked about a significant moment that I remember. There's other ones that I will mention. And we're going to come back to that. So we're going to talk about your significant moments, and then we'll talk about the spiritual and physical side of the Camino. Those are the things that they each have their part. We'll be able to expand on it as far or as surface level as you would like it to. And then, yeah, there's a couple little things after that, but I think it'll be good to just have it as its own video. So thank you so much, Kat, for taking the time. I know it's a lot of time and I apologize. I
no,
know you're
thank you.
busy. So we'll come back to it when we can. Okay?
Yeah, that sounds good.